humbled to stand here before you today. To think that I don't know why, but I can't escape God. I've tried to run away from God. But you can't run away from somebody who's everywhere. I've tried to say I'm done. And no matter what happens, I have a passion for God. No matter where I go. If I go to a bookstore, do you know what section I go to? Talk to me. I need you to talk to me. When I go to a bookstore, do you know what store I go, what section I go to? No magazines. The theology section. I'm going there, okay, I'm going to get a new book this year. I'm going to challenge myself and read something out of my norm. I go into Verbatim bookstore. It's a bookstore in North Park. And I sit down and I come back with all these books, all theology. I cannot escape the passion that I have for God. Vicky hears me from time to time. She probably thinks I'm crazy. I can't help it. I don't know what it is, but I can't stop talking about God. I can't stop reading about God. I can't stop thinking about God. I can't stop just loving on God and desiring God and wanting God. I can't stop. Do you know what I'm talking about? Amen. Do you know what I'm talking about? That no matter how far you go, it's like God just somehow just brings you back. That even when you walk away from the church, God just brings you back. That even when you say, God, I've given up on you, God says, I haven't given up on you. That even when you're living in the guttermost, God brings you up to the uttermost. Amen. Because our God has a way of looking at us not in our current situation, but he goes, I know what you will be. What you what? So don't judge me right now, even though my life looks like a mess. Don't judge me when I'm doing crazy stuff. Don't judge me when I look jacked up. Don't judge me when I'm not walking the straight path. Don't judge me just because I haven't been to church for 6 months. Don't judge me just because I haven't prayed in a while. Don't judge me just because I'm not reading the Bible. Don't judge me because my daddy sees something in me, and just because you don't see it doesn't mean that he doesn't see it, and he will bring it to pass. I can't escape this good God that we serve. So my prayer for you today in 2020 is, God, give us all a hunger and a thirst for you. The way, God, that I'm crazy about cars, the way I'm excited about shopping, the way I got my 200 shoes in my closet. Anybody got 200 shoes? I know somebody who's got at least 200 shoes in their closet. Whatever gets you going. My prayer is that God would get us going. Amen? Would you do me a favor? Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm rooted. Turn to your other neighbor and say, I'm rooted. Say, I'm rooted and I'm strong. Yeah. This year, let's grow deep so that we can live strong. This year, let's grow deep so that we can live strong. This year, let's what? So that we can what? Live strong. How many of you guys want to live a stronger life? Yeah. How many of you guys are saying, you're kind of reviewing and saying 2019 was pretty good, but I want to live a stronger life. I want to live a wiser life. I want to live a happier life. I want to live a more prosperous life. I want to live a successful life. I want to live a life that's just a little bit stronger. A lot stronger, Christina said, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. So we're starting a brand new series called Rooted, Growing Deep, Live Strong. And before we get into the sermon, I just want to talk about babies. What? Don't worry, I'm not having a baby. Sorry, Mom. Mom's been asking me for a while, when are you going to have a baby? When are you going to get married, have a baby? One of these days, amen? I think I'd be a good dad. How many of you guys think I'd be a good dad? How many of you guys lying to me? How many of y'all lying to me? How many of you say, stick to Gigi, stick to Gigi, stick to the furry animal? Well, I don't know about you, but there's nothing Like babies, right? Like even if you are in a bad mood and you walk up and a baby comes up to you and just smiles at you, doesn't it just do something to you inside? Do you know what I'm talking about? Some of y'all baby haters, I'm going to pray for you guys. Shoot. But I mean, babies just have this way of just, I don't know what it is. There's something beautiful and just light and just warm and fuzzies and babies. Here's the cool part. Babies, for me at least, they bring out the best in me. Are you with me? All right? And you're saying, Josh, that's easy because you're not a parent. You don't got to take that little baby home. So you just see them for the moment when they're smiling and everything's good and dandy. But babies, right? Like babies. There's something beautiful about babies. There's something cute about babies, yes? But there's nothing cute about when a baby grows up and still acts like a baby. Right? Like, this is cute and it's beautiful, and you're like, oh, you little boo-boo. You even change the way you talk. Like, when I talk to Gigi, I don't even talk like this. I'm, oh, come here, my little baby. Gigi. Her name is Gigi, and I call her Gigi. Gigi, come here, Gigi. Right? I mean, it changes your voice, your whole expression changes, but there's nothing cute about a young baby who grows up and is supposed to be a man, but now this man is still acting like a... Do you know what I'm talking about? There's nothing cute when a little girl is a little girl and then she grows up and she's still acting like... Do you know anybody in your life, in your circle, that's very immature and acting like a little... And there's nothing cute about them acting like a... It's not cute. Matter of fact, it's annoying. Matter of fact, it's sickening. Matter of fact, it just, sometimes you just, they get on your life. Like, doesn't this person get, why don't they just grow up? How is it that they're still dealing with the same, they're still like that? They're still grouchy. They're still moody. They still got that tude. Tude stands for attitude. I remember when I was dating my ex-wife. She was so immature. Right? I mean, on Saturdays we'd go to church and stuff, and I'd be driving, and her and her friend would be in the back, and Jelly, Kim's sister, right? And they'd while I'm driving, they'd be giving me wet willies. Do you know what a wet willy is? It's when you suck on your finger and then you put the finger in the person's ear. And I'm like, hey, get off of me, man. Or they'd be always just laughing and giggling the whole time, just all throughout the day. And I'm like doing everything that I can just to... Do you know what I'm talking about? When people are being immature and you're like, I'm not in an immature type of mood today. Do you know what I'm talking about? And so, I mean, there were just these immature little things that would just make me mad. And they'd be like, Josh, stop being such an old man. Why don't you just calm down a little bit. I was like, I'm focused. I'm going to church. I'm going to get my blessing. I'm in the zone. Have you ever been in the zone before? You know when you're in the zone, you don't want nobody messing with you, talking to you. Man, you know when you're in the football zone, you're sitting on your couch. You don't want the kids to come talk to you. You don't want the wife to talk to you. You know the zone? The zone. Well, I was in the zone. Like, I'm on my way to church, and they're giving me wet willies. Now watch this. I was like, man, she's so mature. And there's nothing cute about a grown man acting like a baby. There's nothing cute about a grown woman acting like a little girl. But if we're honest, because right now you're all thinking about those immature people in your life. I know you are. You know how I know? Because we're all a bunch of judgmental people. Right now, everyone's thinking about oh yeah, they're putting in their little memory bank of, okay, who's the immaturest person? You might be sitting next to them right now. Right? But watch this. If we're honest, we all have areas in our life where we're immature. Every single one of us has an area in our life. So just because I'm mature in one area of my life, doesn't mean I'm better because, I'm so mature, because they might be mature in an area in their life where I'm immature. So watch this. Are you mature or immature with your finances? Ouch, did he just say that? Are you mature or are you immature with your body? What are you putting into your body? What are you eating? You know that stuff's killing you. You keep on putting it in your mouth. You keep on eating it. Do you know that hydrogenated oil? Josh, what is that? Hydrogenated oil is mostly what you, in all your cookies and donuts and everything that you buy at the store that's all fake and processed. You know that stuff that it kills you? It's killing you. Ouch, Josh. Do you know if you just walk 3 times a week for 20 minutes a day, you cut the risk of a heart attack by half? Let me ask you a question. Are you mature or immature when it comes to your health? We all have areas where we're mature and immature, and yet we pick and we choose where we're mature and what we're good at, and then we point the finger and say, you're so immature, you stink. Right? Why don't you get better? What's the matter with you? Are you with me? So what's your point? Glad you asked. Let's turn to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Paul is writing to the church of what? Corinth. Everyone say Corinth. Paul is writing to the church of Corinth, and he's got an issue with them. They are immature spiritually. So question for you, if you were to do a little survey right now of your life, where you're at, would you say that you are mature or immature in your spiritual life? And that's just for you to think about, all right? I don't want to hear all the answers right now. But where are you in your life? Are you mature or are you immature when it comes to your spirituality, when it comes to your walk with Christ? And here's what Paul says. He says, brothers and sisters, when I was with you, I found it impossible, to speak to you as those who are spiritually mature what? People. For you are still dominated. Everyone say dominated. You're still dominated by the mindset of the question. What dominates you right now? What is dominating you in your life? Is it anger? Is it pride? Is it lust? What is dominating your life right now? Is the Spirit dominating your life or is the flesh dominating your life? Now watch this. The flesh dominates our life and we think that's what we really want. But when we're dominated by the flesh, it actually imprisons us. And it keeps us in a state of imprisonment. But when you're dominated by the Spirit, here's how you know the difference. The Spirit will liberate you. There's a freedom that comes. There's a peace that comes. There's a tranquility that comes. There's nothing more, what's the word that I can use? There's nothing worse than when you're dominated by something that you want to be dominated by. You're stuck. So Paul's saying you're dominated by the mindset of the flesh, and because you are immature infants. Ouch. Is Paul being nice? But is he telling the truth? Because you are immature infants in Christ, I had to nurse you and feed you with milk. By the way, what he's saying is I had to nurse you right here. Yeah? Are you with me? With milk and not with solid food of more advanced teachings because you weren't ready for it. In fact, you are still not ready to be fed with solid food. Ouch. There's nothing worse to me than when people have been Christians for 20 years and they're still acting like spiritual babies. There's nothing worse to me when people are like, I've been going to church my whole life. And they tell people, I've been going to church my whole life. And then they go out there and they represent this God that they say they believe in, but I've been going to church my whole life, and because they're so spiritually immature, the people that don't know God want nothing to do with God. Because you and I should be, if you and I have grown up in the church, if we be going to church week after week, year after year, month after month, I mean, come on, at some point. When are we going to wake up? When are we going to grow up? Because there's nothing cute about a young person or a little baby still acting like a baby. And there's nothing cute about Christians claiming to be Christians and claiming to be adult Christians and still acting like little babies. Are you with me? Well, what does Paul, how does he identify a spiritual baby? You ready for it? For you are living your lives dominated by the mindset of the flesh. Ask yourselves this question. Is there jealousy among you? Is there what? Jealousy among you? Do you compare yourselves? Do you compare yourself with others? Are you comparing yourself either good or bad? Are you constantly just looking at them, judging them up and down, thinking how much better you are than them? Or vice versa, maybe you're looking on your Instagram feed and you're judging, comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. And you're saying, man, my life sucks and I don't have it together and I'm so unhappy. But you're looking at your chapter 1 when they're on chapter 20. So he says, is there jealousy among you and are you comparing yourselves to each other? Are you judging someone else's sin just because they sin differently than you? What do you say? Are you judging somebody else's sin just because they're sinning differently than you? So stop being immature. Stop pointing the finger. Stop thinking that you're better than everybody else. He's talking to the church. The church is having these issues. The church is all this jealousy and this fighting. The church is having all these comparisons. He goes on, he says, do you quarrel? Do you fight like children and end up taking what? End up taking sides? Question. Any fights in your family and you guys end up taking sides? Any marriages? Any cousins, any families, co-workers, friends, whatever, where you get in these little bickering and biting and fighting for nothing and then you take sides? He's saying, grow up. Someone say, ouch. Because here's the question. If I want to grow in 2020, right, we want to be rooted deep so that we can live strong. I want to be rooted deep so that I can live strong. Well, I cannot be rooted deep and live strong if I'm still dominated by these type of things in my life. So you and I can come to church and we can come to church and we can come to church, but the question is, what is dominating your life? I have a neighbor next door where I park in front of my house, my little apartment. And they got a little one-story house. It's an older couple. And she has this beautiful front yard with roses. I mean, roses like you've never seen before. Bunch of roses. I mean, boom, 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 boom. You could smell them when you walk up. And then one day, when I first moved in, and I noticed, come right before winter, they were starting chopping everything. They cut every single rose off. The thing looked ugly. And I started thinking, what is this person doing? What I didn't know was that they were preparing the roses for spring. They're doing what? Because it was creating room for growth. What in your life right now does God need to chop? Now, when I looked at her, I was like, what is she doing? She doesn't know what she's doing. Why is she taking off all the roses? They're beautiful. They look perfect. They were top 10 shape right there. It was the most beautiful bed of flowers that I've ever seen. And she's cutting them at their prime. Cuts them up. And I think you and I do the same thing. God cuts things in our lives. We're like, God, don't do that. You don't know what you're doing. You're making me look ugly right now. Because you and I fall in love, we think, oh, we've made it. This is the best part. God goes, don't fall in love with the best part. Because I have more to show you. As good as your life is, as much as I've blessed you, you haven't seen anything yet. So question, where in your life is God chopping things in your life, basically removing, where now it looks ugly and it looks painful and it doesn't look pretty, but it is a setup for your growth. It's a what? Setup for your growth. Verse 4, he says, when you divide yourselves into groups, a Paul group, an Apollos group, you're acting like people without the Spirit's what? So here's what was happening. Paul was planting churches, planting seeds. Apollos was planting seeds in people's hearts, and then Paul would come over and he would continue to help grow the church. Are you with me? Here's what happened though. They were like, there was a group of people and they're like, no, we're of Apollos. I'm on Apollos' group. You know, I want Pastor Robin's church. And then the other people would come. No, I'm in Paul's church. I want Pastor Josh's church. No, I want this church. I want that church. And they began to divide themselves. Are you with me? They began to saying like, well, this church and this church is better, and I don't like about that church. And they were all fighting about church. Are you with me? There's some pastors today that get upset when their members go to another church. Did you know that? Their members will go to another church and they get all bent out of shape. Bent out of shape. I mean, hot. Like, why are you stealing my sheep? Now, here's what I want you to know. As your pastor of this church, I don't care where you go. What did he say? I don't care where you go. You can come here once a year. You can come here every week. You can do whatever you want. But here is the truth, though. I will say this. That if you want to build anything and keep it sustained, you can't just date once a week or once in a while. Like, you can go to any church you want, but if you want to build something here, then you have to commit your time, your presence, your resources. You've got to be dedicated and committed to just one place at least. Are you with me? Because it's easy. A lot of us as Christians nowadays, we like to just go fast food shopping. You know? Like, you know what? Today I'm going to try some Albertos. You know? And tomorrow I'm going to try some Taco Bell. And the next day I'm going to do some In-N-Out. And then the next day I'm going to try, what else is on another one over there? We just want to just pick and we choose and we feed. Are you with me? Now imagine if you dated somebody sporadically. Could you build anything sustainable? You couldn't do it. If you just talk to somebody once a month, once every 3 months. So what I'm saying is, go to any church you want, but if you want to build something for the kingdom of God, commit yourself to a place. And pray and ask God, God, what do you want me to do? How can I be of assistance and service at the church that you've allowed me to go to? So for 2020, if you decide to commit to this church, pray to God, God, what can I do for you? Are you with me? And after you've prayed, and then we come together and, Josh, this is what I feel God is telling me to do, or here's how I can help, or here's when where do you need help? Not just, let me just go pick a sermon to hear. Because you know you could just go online, right? Are you with me? All right, let's keep going. So he says, so they're divided into groups and they're fighting because they have this either-or mentality. Anybody here have an either-or mentality? Nobody wants to raise their hand? Anybody, when you look at a situation, you're always like, there's only two options. You know what I'm saying? Most of us, there's only two options. Now, most of you will never say that, but the reality is all of us have a very black and white mindset. It's always just either-or options. It can't be both. But life a lot of time is, it's both. Either or. So here they are fighting like, no, you can't be a part of Apollos and Paul at the same time. You got to choose which side are you on. Are you with me? So here he goes. He goes, after all, who is Apollos and who is Paul? We are only God's servants through whom you believe the gospel. I planted the seeds in your heart, and Apollos watered it, but it was God who made it grow. It's not important who does the planting or who does the watering. What's important is that God makes the seed grow. The one who plants and the one who waters, they work together for the same. You ever been in a relationship where you guys wanted to get to the same destination, but you wanted to get to it a different way? So instead of going to team at it, you fight about it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Married folk here, right? You guys have the same destination in mind. Like, you both want to be happy in your relationship. You both want to be successful. You both want to have purpose. You both want it, but you just want it a little bit differently. And instead of working together as a team, you fight, and now you're separating. And Paul says, that's spiritual immaturity. Don't you get it? You're on the same team. You want the same things. Christians, why are you fighting? It's crazy to me to think that Christians are fighting each other. I'm from this denomination, and I'm from this denomination, and I represent this church. Do you know that it's all the same goal at the end? The goal is Jesus Christ. The goal is what? The goal is Jesus Christ. And here we are fighting. And if the goal in your relationships, whether it's a relationship with your kids, relationship with your family, relationship with your husband or your wife, relationship with whatever it is, if the end of it is to have a whole, healthy, meaningful, purposeful relationship where you can be happy and in love, then why not work together as a team? And even though you guys are doing different parts, you're not against each other. Paul says that's spiritual immaturity. So if you want to grow, you've got to get rid of your spiritual immaturity. Are you with me? And you have to be able to hold this idea that both can be right. What's 3? How can I make 5, right? Is it 5? Yeah. How many ways can I do to make 5? 3 ways? 3 ways. Who's my mathematicians? 2 ways?
5 plus 0, 4 plus 1, 3 plus 2.
So 3 ways. And they all get you to what? So which one's right? They're all right. All of them are right. So why are we fighting about? You know what I'm saying? It's both. It's both. No, I'm right. I remember one time I did a counseling with nobody here, but it was at a different church, and this girl wanted to do couples counseling, and she came to me by herself first to talk so much smack about her husband, about how wrong he was, about how it's all his fault. And then I did counseling. I said, there's another side to the story. Right. But I saw that they were both right, and they were both wrong. It was both. It was what? It's both. Like when I found my ex-wife with another person, in the moment, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. You with me? But now it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It was what? It's both. Do you hear what I'm saying? Life a lot of times is both. But you and I always want to choose either. But life is it's both. Paul says, you church, you're the saints. But he also says, you are sinners. So which one is it, Paul? It's you're a sinner and a saint. You're what? You're both. Steve Carson's got some of the best oranges. If you haven't tasted Steve Carson's oranges, they're sweet. So sweet that my tío Tano, he's kind of behind the scenes, but he liked them so much that he's like, hey, where'd you get those oranges, I want to get some of those oranges. So one day we're out after church, and we're talking, and there was a bunch of rotting fruits and vegetables. It was trash. And nobody, most people, they throw it away. Steve goes, this is perfect. I'm going to take this and put it in my garden. It's trash. No one's going to eat it. It's rotting. It's decomposing. It's what? It's trash. But he used the trash to give the soil nutrients so that the oranges that you and I eat can be as sweet as they are. What am I saying? I'm saying that maybe there's some trash in your life. Maybe there's some trash in your life that when you look at it, you're like, that's just trash. When you look at it, that's just trash. When you look at your relationship, you're like, I'm in a trashy relationship. When you look at your finances, you're like, this is a trashy situation. When you look at your job, you're like, this is a trashy place to be in. When you look at the trash, but what you don't realize is the trash is used as the nutrients that God is preparing for your life to be enriched. It's both. It's what? It's trash, but it's also nutrients. It's decomposed, it's trash. But it's the very trash that allows the soil to be rich. It's both. So what if, right now, whatever you're going through, and you're saying it's a bad situation, God is saying it's both. Yeah, it's a bad situation. but I can use even bad situations because I'm so good. I'm so good. God says, I'm so good. I'm so wise. Ooh, you haven't seen wisdom. I'm so amazing. I'm so beautiful. I'm the best artist that you've ever seen. You haven't seen what I'm about to build in your life. If you just trust me, if you just hold on a little bit longer, if you don't let go, if you really believe with all your heart, if you really desire me, if you just keep on keeping on, you'll see that it's both. It's both. Somebody once said that when we get to heaven, we'll sing a song that the angels won't be able to sing. Well, what? We'll sing a song that the angels won't be able to sing. Why? Because they haven't lived the both lives. They don't know what it's like to have a twisted character. They don't know what it's like to have both sinner and saint in us. But we will sing a song to the glory of God that they won't be able to sing. Why? Because they don't know the struggle. They don't know the pain. They don't know the suffering. They don't know the hurt. They don't know the brokenness. They don't know the salvation that God paid for human beings who have fallen, because they never sinned. So what am I saying? Is that even our sin, will turn into the greatest blessing in the hands of God. Because when we get there, we're going to sing a song that the angels can't sing. Because it's both. God takes both. So question, are you spiritually mature? Are you spiritually immature? Because spiritually mature people, ready? We're just going to go through this real quick. Spiritually mature people are able to keep long-term commitments. Long-term what? You know anybody who says, oh, I'm going to do this, and then a couple of weeks later, they ain't doing it no more? You ever met somebody who's going to commit? Oh, I'm going to commit to doing this. I'm going to help out. I'm going to go do this. Then they don't do it anymore. One key signal of maturity is the ability to delay gratification. You and I live in a society that's all about instant. But a mature person knows that it's not about instant gratification. It's not about the newness. It's not about doing that. It's about doing something even when I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like being nice right now, God. I don't feel like being loving right now, God. I don't feel like being kind. I don't feel like not giving them a piece of my mind because I'm ready. I'm locked and loaded. But spiritually mature people are able to keep that long-term commitment. Spiritually mature people are unshaken by flattery or criticism. Immature people, tell me how good I am. Tell me. And when you don't tell me, I'm all down. Or on the flip side, 10 people can say great thing about you. One person comes and criticizes you. And all you can think about that criticism, you're down for the rest of the week. But a mature person goes, you know what? It's not about the complaints, and it's not about the criticism. It's about my identity. And my identity is in my God, my Father. So I don't care what you say or what you don't say about me. I know who I am, and I know whose I am. I'm a child of God. I'm a son and a daughter. I am a prince and a princess. I am heir to the throne. I have been promised. I have been bought with a price. God is going to be my daddy. With me? Mature, spiritually mature people, they possess a spirit of humility. A spirit of what? So humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. Did you get that? Spiritual humility isn't about thinking less of yourself. You know who you are already, but now you think less of yourself. Because the world doesn't revolve all around you. It's not about you. It's not about me, myself, and I, right? It's getting to a point where I know how to put others' needs before mine, right? In a healthy, balanced way. Amen? Number 4, mature people make decisions based on character, not feelings. Mature people live by values. They have principles that guide their decisions. They are able to progress beyond merely reacting to life's options and be proactive as they live their lives. Their character is master over their emotions. Did you know you don't have to respond to your emotions? Did you know that? Just because you feel it and you get all emotional in a certain way, you don't have to do it. But a spiritually mature person says, I'm going to hold back. You know that where they're beating up Jesus, crucifying him? Do you know what he said back to them? He said one thing. Father, forgive them. Question. When people are driving you into pain and to suffering, when people are not being very nice, are you able to say, Father, forgive them? Because spiritually mature people are able to say, Father, someone say, Josh, pray for me because I ain't there yet. Number 5, and then we're 6 and 7. Number 5, spiritually mature people, they express gratitude consistently, right? The more mature you get, the more grateful you become for the little things and the big things. And you recognize your place in this world and you're going, have you ever thought, man, I wish I had a bigger house or a nicer car, if I had more money, if I did, you always wanted more. You ever been there before? In comparison to the way some of the people in this world are living, you and I are filthy rich. If you ate every night this week, if you what? If you just ate every night this week, you're better off than a lot of people in this world. So being thankful for the littlest things. Number 6, mature people, spiritually mature people, they seek wisdom before they act. You're teachable. Are you teachable? Right? Do you understand that you don't have all the answers? Yes? Pray for me on that one. The wiser you get, the more you realize, I actually need more wisdom. The smarter I get, the more I realize I'm not that smart. The closer I get to Christ, the more I realize I need more of Christ. It's not like when I get to Christ and I have more of Christ, I'm like, okay, I'm done. No, the closer I get to Christ, the more I see my flaws. The further away I am from Christ, the more I see other people's flaws. And number 7, this one's hard. You celebrate the successes and the victories of others, even when your life doesn't seem like there's much success or there's no victory. You don't get jealous, you don't get mad, and you don't think, God, why are you forgetting about me? Have you ever had a friend or somebody in your family where everything just keeps on going right for them? And they just keep on getting blessed, and they got the promotion, and they got the beautiful family and all this stuff, and you're thinking, what the heck? What about me? But spiritually mature people say, hey, I'm going to celebrate with you. I'm going to genuinely celebrate your success and your victories. Because guess what? When you're winning, I'm winning. When you're winning, I'm winning. Because we are all brothers and sisters in the family of God. So with that said, question for you to think about. God, where am I immature? And where am I mature? And where do I need to grow more in my life? God bless you, family. We will see you next week for part 2. Please, 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 if you can, don't miss next week. Because it's about Jesus cursing something. Doing what? cursing something. Jesus never curses anything. He only blesses things. It's this incident that Jesus is going to curse something. And we're going to be talking about part 2 of spiritual maturity versus spiritual immaturity and what that looks like. So part 2, next week, we're going to look at the life of Jesus as he curses something. Come out, bring your friends. With that said, you are dismissed.